Sleep is not simply the absence of wakefulness. It's a highly active state where your brain and body engage in some of the most restorative processes known to biology. When we sleep deeply, neurons prune unnecessary connections, hormones reset, immune function strengthens, and memory systems consolidate information. But most people are not getting the deep, high-quality sleep they need, not because they don't spend enough time in bed, but because their nervous system isn't entering the right stages of sleep at the right depth. Today, I want to focus on a fascinating and practical question. Are there specific foods, specific molecules in foods that can actually enhance your ability to fall asleep, stay asleep, and achieve deep restorative rest? And the answer is yes. In fact, there are at least 4 well-studied foods that have been shown in peer-reviewed research to influence the neurochemistry of sleep. But to understand how they work, we need to start with the underlying mechanisms of sleep itself. The biological clock and sleep pressure your sleep is controlled by 2 main systems. The circadian clock, governed by neurons deep in the hypothalamus, which tell your body when it's day or night, sleep pressure, which builds up as adenosine accumulates in your brain throughout the day, making you feel sleepy at night. Foods influence both systems indirectly through hormones, neurotransmitters, and micronutrients. They can shift the timing of your circadian rhythm, increase the production of calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, or supply the raw material for melatonin, the hormone that signals to your brain it's time to sleep. Let's walk through the 4 foods, one at a time, and understand how they work at a mechanistic level, as well as how to use them properly. Deep sleep is not just a restful pause from the day, it's a carefully orchestrated biological state governed primarily by 2 core systems in the brain: the circadian rhythm and sleep pressure. The circadian rhythm is your body's internal clock, operating on roughly a 24-hour cycle, which regulates when you feel alert and when you feel sleepy. This rhythm is strongly influenced by external cues, especially light, but it is also affected by the foods you eat and when you eat them. Sleep pressure, on the other hand, is a chemical process that builds up as you stay awake, driven largely by the accumulation of adenosine, a molecule in the brain that makes you feel sleepy as it rises throughout the day. These 2 systems must align properly for you to experience not just any sleep, but deep restorative sleep, the stage where your brain consolidates memories, your body repairs tissues, and your immune system becomes more resilient. If either system is out of balance, you may fall asleep at the wrong time, wake up repeatedly in the night, or fail to enter the slow, wave sleep phases necessary for true restoration. Food has a profound influence on these systems because the molecules in food can interact with your nervous system and endocrine system to shape the timing and depth of sleep. Certain nutrients can raise serotonin levels, which later convert to melatonin as light decreases, telling your brain it's nighttime. Other nutrients influence how stable your blood sugar remains overnight, which affects whether you stay asleep or wake up. Some compounds found naturally in whole foods reduce stress hormones like cortisol in the evening, preventing them from interfering with the circadian signal to sleep. This means what you eat, and when you eat it, can directly change the quality of your deep sleep without any medications. For example, eating at consistent times each day helps anchor your internal clock, while specific foods provide neurotransmitter precursors that help your brain enter the right sleep stages. Deep sleep occurs most reliably when the circadian rhythm signals the brain to release melatonin in the evening at the same time that adenosine levels are high from being awake all day. If your diet lacks certain vitamins, minerals, or amino acids, your body may not make enough serotonin or melatonin to reinforce the signal, leading to poor sleep quality even if you spend enough time in bed. On the other hand, when you include foods that naturally contain these compounds or help your body synthesize them more efficiently, you can make falling asleep faster, staying asleep longer, and reaching deep sleep more predictable. The circadian rhythm also responds to the timing of food intake because digestion and metabolism are linked to clock genes in your body's cells. Eating very late at night can confuse this system and delay the release of melatonin, while eating nutrient-rich foods earlier in the evening can help reinforce it. The brain areas that regulate wakefulness and sleep, such as the hypothalamus and brainstem, use signals from hormones, amino acids, and electrolytes that come from food. When your diet supports stable energy during the day and calmness at night, your brain interprets this as the correct window to initiate slow, wave sleep. Both the homeostatic pressure from adenosine and the circadian signal from melatonin are sensitive to dietary influences, making nutrition one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, tools to enhance sleep depth. By understanding that deep sleep isn't random, but is instead the outcome of a finely tuned biological rhythm combined with chemical pressure, it becomes clear why certain foods can improve your sleep. Kiwi is far more than just a sweet, tangy fruit. It is a unique source of compounds that support your nervous system's ability to transition into restful sleep. Research has shown that consuming kiwi about an hour before bedtime can help people fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and improve overall sleep efficiency. The reason lies in its rich supply of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that not only regulates mood, but also serves as the direct biochemical precursor to melatonin, the hormone your brain releases at night to signal that it's time to sleep. When you eat kiwi in the evening, the serotonin it contains can be converted by your pineal gland into melatonin once light levels fall, reinforcing your natural circadian rhythm and creating a strong internal signal that it's nighttime. Unlike taking synthetic melatonin supplements, which can sometimes deliver too much or at the wrong time, kiwi provides these molecules in a balanced, food-based form that works in harmony with your existing sleep-wake cycle. In addition to serotonin, kiwi is loaded with antioxidants such as vitamin C and carotenoids. These antioxidants help reduce oxidative stress in your brain and body, which is important because high oxidative stress interferes with the ability of neurons to reset properly during deep sleep. When oxidative damage is lower, glial cells in the brain can perform their nightly cleanup functions more efficiently, clearing out metabolic waste and supporting memory formation. The fiber content in kiwi also stabilizes blood sugar levels throughout the night, which prevents the spikes and drops in glucose that can cause you to wake up unexpectedly. Stable blood sugar contributes to more continuous sleep, allowing you to cycle naturally through the stages of non-REM sleep without interruption. Clinical studies have demonstrated that people who consistently eat 1 or 2 kiwis before bed report not only faster sleep onset, but also measurable increases in the percentage of time spent in deep, slow wave sleep. These effects are not a one-time trick. They become stronger with regular use, suggesting that kiwi consumption conditions the nervous system over time to reinforce healthy sleep patterns. The fruit's natural blend of serotonin, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals work synergistically to prepare both brain and body for restorative rest. Importantly, kiwi is light and easy to digest, making it an ideal evening food that won't sit heavily in your stomach or interfere with digestion at night. Because it is low in calories but rich in micronutrients, it also avoids the problem of late night overeating, which can delay sleep by diverting blood flow to the digestive system. For the best results, kiwi should be eaten on its own, rather than alongside heavy or high fat foods that slow its absorption and blunt its impact on serotonin conversion. Eating kiwi consistently at the same time each evening helps reinforce your circadian rhythm even further, giving your brain and body a predictable signal that it's time to wind down. This is especially useful for people who struggle with insomnia, shift work, or irregular sleep schedules. Kiwi works not as a sedative, but as a natural regulator. It doesn't force you to sleep, it helps your body decide that it's the right time to do so. This makes it different from sleep aids that override your natural neurochemistry and can leave you groggy the next morning. Instead, kiwi supports the intrinsic mechanisms your brain already uses to generate melatonin and enter deep sleep. By eating a small whole food portion about an hour before bed, you provide your nervous system with precisely what it needs to synchronize internal rhythms and maintain long, uninterrupted sleep cycles. Tart cherries, particularly in the form of tart cherry juice, are one of the few natural foods that contain measurable amounts of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your brain that it is nighttime and time to sleep. They also provide tryptophan, an essential amino acid that serves as a precursor to serotonin and melatonin production, allowing your body to generate its own sleep-promoting compounds. This dual action, directly providing melatonin while also supplying the raw materials to make more of it, creates a powerful effect on sleep quality. Multiple clinical studies have shown that people who consume tart cherry juice in the evening experience not only longer total sleep duration, but also increased time spent in slow, wave deep sleep, the most restorative stage where growth hormone is released, immune function is strengthened, and the brain consolidates memories. Unlike synthetic melatonin supplements, which often deliver a rapid spike followed by a crash, the naturally occurring melatonin in tart cherries enters the bloodstream more gradually and in smaller, physiologically appropriate amounts, supporting a smoother transition into sleep without causing morning grogginess. The anthocyanins and polyphenols found in tart cherries also have anti-inflammatory effects, which is important because inflammation can disrupt circadian signaling and fragment sleep cycles. By reducing inflammatory molecules in the body, tart cherries create an environment where neurons and glial cells can perform the nightly repair and cleanup processes essential for deep, restorative rest. This anti-inflammatory action is particularly beneficial for older adults, athletes recovering from strenuous training, or anyone experiencing chronic low-grade inflammation that interferes with sleep. In addition, tart cherries help regulate cortisol levels, the stress hormone that, when elevated at night, can prevent melatonin release and keep the brain in a state of alertness. By naturally lowering nighttime cortisol, tart cherries help ensure that the circadian signal to sleep is loud and clear. Studies typically use around 8 ounces of tart cherry juice taken 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, or a small bowl of whole tart cherries if they are in season, and report measurable improvements in sleep efficiency within days to weeks of consistent use. This timing aligns with the body's natural melatonin release and reinforces the evening signal that it's time to wind down. Because tart cherries are also a source of carbohydrates, they can facilitate tryptophan's transport into the brain, further supporting serotonin and melatonin synthesis. This makes them a functional food that combines direct hormonal signaling with nutrient support for your nervous system. The benefits extend beyond just helping you fall asleep faster. They also improve your ability to stay asleep and cycle naturally through the non-REM and REM stages of sleep without waking up frequently. Whether used to combat jet lag, to adjust to new sleep schedules, or simply to improve nightly rest, Tart cherries represent an evidence-based, whole food approach to enhancing sleep architecture. By consuming them regularly at the same time each evening, you can condition your circadian rhythm for greater consistency, reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, and support the delicate neurochemical pathways that allow you to achieve deep, uninterrupted sleep. Fatty fish such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines provide a unique combination of nutrients that strongly influence brain chemistry, hormone balance, and sleep regulation. These fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA and EPA, which affect how neurons communicate and how the brain regulates serotonin, the neurotransmitter that later converts to melatonin in the evening. When serotonin levels are optimized during the day, melatonin production at night becomes more predictable, helping your body transition smoothly into deep sleep. In addition, fatty fish are excellent sources of vitamin D, which also plays a crucial role in serotonin synthesis. People with low vitamin D levels often experience more fragmented sleep, difficulty staying asleep, and reduced time in slow, wave-deep sleep. By eating fish regularly, you provide your nervous system with both the raw materials and the signaling molecules it needs to create a stable circadian rhythm. This is not just theoretical. Clinical research shows that adults who include fatty fish in their diet 3 or more times per week fall asleep faster, wake up less often during the night, and report higher overall sleep quality. Their evening melatonin levels are elevated compared to those who eat less fish, and their body temperature rhythms, which help determine when you feel naturally sleepy, are better regulated. Omega-3s also reduce chronic inflammation throughout the body and brain, which is important because high inflammation disrupts the neural pathways that govern sleep. A calmer, less inflamed nervous system is one that can shift into slow, wave sleep more easily and stay there longer. These fats also improve the fluidity of neuronal membranes, allowing neurotransmitters involved in sleep and relaxation, such as GABA and serotonin, to signal more effectively. Unlike heavy, fried meals that can cause indigestion and keep you awake, grilled, baked, or steamed fatty fish provide sustained energy without spiking blood sugar late at night. Eating fish earlier in the evening, about 3 to 4 hours before bedtime, gives your body enough time to digest while still supplying the nutrients in time to influence your nighttime neurochemistry. This timing also aligns with the gradual rise of melatonin in the evening, so that by the time you are ready to sleep, your nervous system has already shifted toward a state of calm and readiness for deep rest. The combination of high-quality protein, healthy fats, and essential micronutrients in fish creates a steady internal environment that reduces nighttime awakenings caused by fluctuations in blood sugar or stress hormones. When serotonin production is strong during the day, your mood, alertness, and focus improve. But more importantly for sleep, that serotonin becomes available to convert to melatonin at night when darkness triggers your pineal gland. The omega-3 and vitamin D synergy from fatty fish makes that process more efficient, ensuring that your brain receives a clear signal that it's nighttime. People who consistently consume fatty fish report feeling more refreshed in the morning, which is a marker of spending more time in restorative deep sleep rather than just light or fragmented sleep stages. This nutrient pattern also supports the regulation of cortisol, the stress hormone, which when elevated in the evening can keep you wired and prevent melatonin from doing its job. By calming the stress response and reinforcing the circadian signal to sleep, fatty fish provide a natural food-based solution for improving sleep architecture. These effects are not instantaneous like taking a sedative. They build over weeks as your nervous system incorporates the nutrients into cell membranes, hormone pathways, and neurotransmitter systems. Eating fatty fish as part of a consistent evening routine works with your biology rather than against it, setting up a reliable rhythm where your brain expects to release melatonin at the same time every night and guide you into deep, slow, wave sleep without interruption. Almonds and other magnesium-rich foods are powerful tools for supporting deep, restorative sleep because magnesium is a mineral that directly affects how the nervous system calms itself at night. Magnesium plays a key role in activating GABA, the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain, which reduces the firing of neurons and allows your body to transition from an alert state into one of relaxation. When magnesium levels are low, the brain tends to remain overly active in the evening, leading to racing thoughts, restlessness, and difficulty falling asleep. Studies have shown that people with insufficient magnesium intake have higher nighttime cortisol levels, the stress hormone that interferes with melatonin production and disrupts sleep cycles. By providing your body with magnesium from whole foods such as almonds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, and leafy greens, you help regulate this balance, lowering stress signals while enhancing the brain's natural ability to release melatonin at the right time. Almonds are a particularly practical source because they are easy to eat in small portions, light on the digestive system, and contain not only magnesium but also healthy fats and a bit of protein, which stabilize blood sugar levels during the night. Stable blood sugar prevents sudden drops in energy that can cause you to wake up abruptly, ensuring a more continuous, uninterrupted sleep cycle. Magnesium also supports muscle relaxation throughout the body, preventing nighttime cramps, tension, or twitching that might otherwise disturb your sleep. Research indicates that supplementing with magnesium can improve both sleep onset and sleep efficiency, but getting it through food allows for a gradual, balanced intake rather than a single concentrated dose. When you eat a small handful of almonds or other magnesium-rich foods about an hour before bed, you provide your nervous system with a steady supply of this calming mineral right when it needs it most. Magnesium helps quiet the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight branch, while supporting the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest, digestion, and recovery. This shift in balance is critical for moving into slow-wave sleep, the deepest stage where growth hormone is released, tissues repair themselves, and the brain clears away metabolic waste through the glymphatic system. Almonds also contain small amounts of tryptophan, an amino acid that can be used to make serotonin, further reinforcing melatonin production once darkness sets in. Pairing magnesium-rich foods with a source of natural carbohydrate, such as fruit, can help tryptophan enter the brain more efficiently, enhancing these effects even further. This means something as simple as a small evening snack of almonds and kiwi or almonds with tart cherries can combine multiple sleep-supporting pathways at once. Unlike heavy late-night meals that can delay sleep by requiring long periods of digestion, almonds are nutrient-dense yet low in volume, making them an ideal choice for signaling relaxation without taxing the digestive system. Consistency is important because the body uses magnesium daily, and regular intake keeps levels steady enough to support ongoing sleep quality. Over time, this pattern reduces nighttime awakenings, shortens the time it takes to fall asleep, and improves the proportion of deep, slow, wave sleep relative to lighter sleep stages. Magnesium also helps regulate the electrical activity of the heart and other muscles during sleep, which contributes to a calmer physiological state overall. This is why people who eat magnesium-rich foods regularly often report not only better sleep, but also lower anxiety and tension throughout the day. By reducing the body's evening stress response, relaxing skeletal muscles, stabilizing blood sugar, and enhancing JB signaling in the brain, almonds provide a natural and balanced way to improve the depth and quality of sleep without the need for medications or high-dose supplements. Timing and consistency in eating these sleep-supporting foods are just as important as the foods themselves because your circadian rhythm depends on predictable signals. Your brain uses light exposure, temperature, and feeding schedules to determine when to release melatonin and guide you into deep sleep. When you eat certain foods at the right time, you reinforce this rhythm, whereas eating at irregular hours or consuming heavy meals too close to bedtime can confuse your internal clock and delay the onset of sleep. Lighter foods such as fruits and nuts are best consumed 1 to 2 hours before bed, giving your body enough time to digest and absorb the key nutrients, serotonin, magnesium, or melatonin without overloading your digestive system. Heavier proteins such as fatty fish should be eaten 3 to 4 hours before bed so that digestion is mostly complete by the time your nervous system is ready to transition into sleep. This spacing ensures that the nutrients are available in the bloodstream to influence serotonin and melatonin production while avoiding discomfort or acid reflux that can occur if you lie down too soon after eating. Consistency in meal timing also helps anchor your circadian rhythm. When you eat at roughly the same times every day, your body anticipates food intake and aligns hormone release accordingly. Cortisol naturally rises in the morning to promote wakefulness and should decline at night to make room for melatonin, but eating too late can keep cortisol elevated, especially if the food is heavy or high in sugar. By sticking to a predictable schedule, you reduce this conflict and give your nervous system a clear signal that it's time to relax. The brain regions responsible for regulating sleep, including the hypothalamus and pineal gland, rely on input from both feeding behavior and light exposure to stay synchronized. If your feeding pattern is erratic, your circadian clock becomes less reliable, making it harder to fall asleep and reducing the amount of time you spend in slow, wave deep sleep. On the other hand, when your meals are timed consistently, your brain learns to associate certain periods with energy intake and others with rest, improving the release of melatonin at night. This process is called entrainment, and it means your internal clock is being trained by external cues to stay on schedule. In practical terms, if you choose to use kiwi or tart cherries as evening sleep tools, they should be eaten around the same time each night rather than sporadically. Similarly, if fatty fish is part of your dinner routine, having it at a consistent early evening hour reinforces the body's expectation that rest will follow. Over time, this conditioning allows your nervous system to become more efficient at shifting from alertness to calmness without struggle. Regular timing also stabilizes blood sugar levels throughout the evening, preventing the spikes and dips that can wake you up at night. It works hand in hand with nutrients like magnesium, which calm the nervous system, and omega-3 fats, which support serotonin regulation. The result is not only easier sleep onset, but also deeper, more continuous sleep that allows your brain to move through its natural cycles without disruption. This is why sleep improvement protocols emphasize both what you eat, and when you eat it, the two cannot be separated if you want reliable results. By pairing nutrient-dense foods with predictable timing, You essentially program your internal clock to recognize that nighttime is for rest and recovery.